Hello, my name is James Cook. I'm an assistant professor of social science, and I want to welcome you to this spring. It doesn't look like spring, but it is the spring semester of the social networks course. I want to talk about a lot during this semester, the ideas of connection, how we think about that mathematically, what that means, but really what I want to talk about today are just 5 basic things that you need to know in order to really do well in this course. Number 1, we have a course syllabus. I want you to read it. I want you to read the whole thing. It's not a short document, but it's an important one because it is the contract between you and me about my expectations for how you can succeed in the class. And if you read it carefully right at the beginning of the course, you'll know exactly what I expect of you. If you don't read it, you may end up being surprised later on, and I don't want that to happen. I want you to succeed in the class. I want everyone in this class to earn an A. And many people have done that, and most people who've done that have read that syllabus. Second, I want you to know about 2 websites that we're going to be using. Not just one, but 2. Now, the first one you're probably familiar with, and that's at courses.maine.edu. That is our course Blackboard page, and that is a secure website on which you can upload your work. It contains your personal, private contact information that I wouldn't want to share with anyone else, and it's also going to contain a copy of the course syllabus. But there are some things that Blackboard just can't do very well. One of the things it can't do very well is share dynamic content. It can't present a blog very well. It can't integrate images, and it can't get feedback in the middle of a lecture very well. It can't incorporate video very well. So for that reason, and many more, I want to include a second web page. And that web page is going to contain our lectures, and they'll be linked to from Blackboard, but it's important for you to know that you will be going to a second website. That website is umasocialmedia.com/social networks. So you'll be looking at lectures at that umasocialmedia.com/social networks website. You'll be uploading your private information on the course Blackboard page. And I'm going to be asking you, when you review those lectures, to, as you're looking at the umasocialmedia.com website, to participate, to get involved, to ask me questions in the middle of the lecture, in the middle of the week that I give the lecture, to talk to each other. How are you going to do that? While we're preserving one of the important hallmarks of student rights in the 21st century, which is privacy. We're going to do that through point number 3 of 5, a pseudonym. I'm going to give you a pseudonym, a fake name, not your real name, and I'm going to ask you to use that name when you engage in online conversation on that public umasocialmedia.com website. There will be ways to do that. There's a comments capability at the end of every lecture. You can leave comments that include questions. There's also a plugin called Padlet that allows you in the middle of a lecture to participate in providing some examples, creating some questions, criticizing what I have to say. Those are all possibilities, but I don't want you to use your real name. I want you to use your pseudonym. And I'm the only person who will know your pseudonym, and so I'll tie that to your grade, because participation will be part of your grade. The 4th piece of information I want to tell you about is a really important one, because it's a big piece of the class. You are going to engage in social network analysis. Analysis is a big, scary sounding word, but what it really means is that you are not going to be just thinking about social networks, patterns of ties that connect people and other things, but you are going to be collecting social network data. You're going to be making social network measurements. You're going to be learning how to do the work of analyzing social networks. understanding them. And in order to do that, you really have to learn how to use a social network analysis program. Now, fortunately, that's free. It's a program called NodeXL, and it's available at nodexl.codeplex.com. It's free, it's open source, it's developed by the Microsoft Corporation, and so it has been certified by Microsoft as secure, so it's safe for your computer. But here's the rub. In order for it to work, it's a plugin. It's a plugin for Microsoft Office's Excel spreadsheet, EXCEL. And that means that if you're going to use NodeXL on your computer has got to have a recent version of Microsoft Office. That means Microsoft Office 2007, 2010, or 2013. It has to be a complete version of that program as well. Otherwise, NodeXL won't work on your computer. Can you run this on a Macintosh? Yes, you can. But you have to have a program that lets you run regular PC-based software in order to make it work. So keep that in mind. And here's the good news. If you just can't install that software on your own computer, we have at the UMA Augusta campus, the UMA Bangor campus, and in all the university college centers around Maine, managed in the student computer labs to install a copy of NodeXL. So those are the two ways that you can access NodeXL. Now, if you can't get to Maine to do that, maybe you're a student in Colorado, or if you're in Maine but you just can't make it in to a university college center or the UMA Augusta or Bangor campuses, and your computer is really old and doesn't have Microsoft Office on it, then you're going to be out of luck. And that's why I want to tell you at the beginning of the class, you're going to have trouble because you really need that NodeXL software in order to succeed. Finally, I want to talk about getting in touch with me. I'm trying to be upfront and share with you all the expectations I have for the class. I think it's going to be fun. I think it's going to be really neat. This is one of the hottest, newest ways of thinking about societies that's out there. There are hundreds of thousands of pieces of scholarship about social networks that are existing, and most of them are less than 10 years old. So you're right on the cutting edge here. This is a great place to be. But sometimes the cutting edge can be a little scary. So if you find yourself out on a limb and you feel like you need a little bit of guidance, get in touch with me. There are a few ways to do so, and I promise I will get right back in touch with you. The first way is by phone. My phone number is 207-621-3190. Now, sometimes I'm teaching another class. I won't be available by phone. Sometimes I'm sleeping. But I promise I will get back in touch with you within a business day. You can also send me an email to james.m.cook@maine.edu. And again, I promise to get back in touch with you within a business day. Most often before that, well before that. But that's my basic promise. You can also post a message to the Blackboard discussion board. There's a discussion board on Blackboard that you can use. Just look as you log into the course website on the left-hand side. There will be a link called discussion, and you can start a new forum thread there. You can also post a comment to every lecture. And that's a good way to get involved. In fact, I encourage it. I'm going to expect your participation. I want your questions. You should have them. A couple of more features that I encourage you to look at in the syllabus. One is the Writing Center. At UMA Bangor and UMA Augusta, there's a Writing Center, which is a good place to go if you have a little trouble with your writing style, you're not sure how to go about citing a source or something like that. Now, they won't tell you what to write, but they'll give you a little help in figuring out how to go about in the technical aspects of it. Also, consider getting in touch with Donald.Ozier at maine.edu. Don Ozier is the head of the Learning Support Services Office. If you have a learning disability and that needs accommodation for this class, or if you've had an injury and that makes it difficult for you to, say, type on a computer, there's something that is standing between you and success in the class, and it's not intellectual. It's something about your body. It's something about a learning disability that you just need some help getting around. Donald Ozier is the expert, much more of an expert in learning support services than I am, and he can help you get around that. He can also provide accommodations if you provide documentation, and that's a great idea for how to set it up, because that way you don't have to approach me and depend on me to either say yes or no, as if I was an expert on learning accommodations, which I'm not. I know a little bit about social networks, but not learning support. Donald Ozier will be the person to go to if you need that help. And he's a great resource and a very responsive professional. I hope this information has been helpful. I hope it's given you the basics of what you need in order to start to succeed in the course. The last piece of advice I have to give you is to participate every week. Get involved, read the lecture, participate in the lecture every week as it comes up, and you'll find that the amount of work you have to do to succeed in this class isn't that significant. It's not that high. If you let it creep up and pile up, you set it aside for a few weeks and then you come back to it, you might feel a little overwhelmed. If you have any questions, please do get in touch. Again, welcome to this spring semester for social networks. I'm eager to get started. I'm eager to meet you. I'm eager to spend a little time with you learning about social networks.